Let's apply to college using the Common Application. The Common App is a single application form accepted by hundreds of colleges around the United States and the world, including 11 right here in Oregon. Now, some colleges and universities do accept both the Common Application and their own application form or another application. The good news is you only need to complete one application form for each college you apply to. So our recommendation is that if you're applying to 2 or more colleges that accept the Common Application, that might be a really good option for you. And so we're going to go through that process today. We're going to start on the Oregon Goes to College website. From the College Info tab, choose Apply to College, and that'll take us to a page with a lot of really good information to help us prepare. And this is particularly important for the Common Application because you'll have things like needing to provide your activities information and a personal statement or an essay. And so this is a really good opportunity to just take stock of what it is that you're going to need and get ready to apply. Once you're ready to do that, we can click on this tab here for Common Application, or you could scroll down to the list of colleges and universities to take a look at which ones accept the Common Application. And there's a link here as well as in each of these checkboxes. And both public universities in Oregon and independent not-for-profit colleges and universities in the state accept the Common Application. So let's get started. From the Common App website, we're first going to need to create an account. And I am planning to graduate from high school this spring and start college in the fall as a first-year student, so I will choose that and enter my email address. Now, it's really important that I'm choosing an email address that I'm using for all of my college communications and that I'm checking that email address on a pretty regular basis, at least a couple of times a week, if not more. And I need to choose a password here. There's some information about what I need to be sure to include in that password. And I've got it. I think those match. Looks like no, so let me try again. I think so. And I'm going to choose my first or given name. This note here that it needs to be the same as what appears on my official documents. They're looking for my legal name in this case, and so I want to make sure that I'm providing that. I will have an opportunity to provide a nickname later if I need to. Okay, and choosing my address. Doesn't like my address, so I can say I don't see my address on this list and continue, and now I can provide my address. If that happens to you, you'll just want to do that same thing. If you see multiple lines for your address, that's a really good place to put your apartment number, is on the second line. And fill everything in here. And click continue. Now asking me information about where I am currently located, and I am in the United States, so that does not work for that. The answer is no there. I am, again, applying as a first-year student, and I do plan to start college in the fall of 2021. So planning to start the fall after I graduate from high school. And I need to review and read through all of this information before I click to create an account. And so make sure that you do that and click create an account. I'm on a public computer, so I'm going to choose not to save this. Instead, what I'm going to do is make sure that I make a note of what I used as my password and write that down in a safe place. I'm now in and ready to go. The first thing we should do when we get into the Common App is notice that there's a lot going on here, and that's okay. You'll want to read through the instructions and take your time to make sure that you understand all of the different things that are happening. We're going to go through each of the steps to apply to college, to select the colleges that we want to apply to, and then fill out the form. But if we miss something, or if you have additional questions, notice that there are opportunities for you to get help, and those are available. The chat in particular is available a number of different hours, and so be sure to be taking advantage of any of those opportunities that you have. The first thing that we want to do is find the colleges that we are interested in applying to. Currently, we don't have any colleges on our list, and so we need to go to the College Search tab to find them. There's a number of different things that you can do to choose the colleges. If you know the name of the college that you're interested in, or the colleges that you're interested in planning to apply to, you can type those in here. If you know the city that you want to be in and you want to find the colleges that way, you can type the city name in here and it'll pull up a number of colleges. I'm going to choose the More Filters option because that allows me to choose all of the colleges in the state of Oregon. And today, we're going to include every college in the state of Oregon that accepts the Common Application. And so I want to show all 11 colleges. And now I need to add those to my college list. And so I'm going to do that by clicking the button or the plus sign for every college that showed up in that option for Oregon schools. And now what we'll see is that when we go to My Colleges, we have a list of all of the colleges that we're thinking about applying to, including information or a link to be able to get information about each of those colleges, what their deadlines are, and what is required of them, including whether or not, for example, that we'll need an essay or other required questions. Okay, now let's get started with the application form itself. Now we know where we're applying and we're ready to start filling things in. Now, first, we have the profile, and this is about our personal information first. Again, we gave them our name when we first made the account, and this is our legal name. This is the one that's on our official documents, including our transcript, our driver's license if we have one, other official legal documents. We can add a middle name in. Suffix is things like junior, senior, if you have a number after your last name. I don't, and so I'm not going to include that, but you can if you would like. Preferred name is a nickname or the name that you want to be called by people at the college or university that you're applying to. Question of whether you've ever used any other names or not. If the answer is yes, you should choose yes, and then it will ask you for that information. This is really to help them connect documents from your application so that if, for example, you have a letter of recommendation written by somebody who knew you with your former name and wrote the letter using that name, they could connect that letter of recommendation to your application form. So if you have a former name, definitely be sure to use that here. I don't, so I'm going to click no, and that will take those additional questions away. Notice that some questions have an asterisk next to them and some don't. The asterisk means that these are required questions. And so I'm going to choose my sex there. And if I wanted to, I could provide a little bit more information about my gender identity below. My date of birth is pulled from when I filled out my login information. If I needed to change it, I could, but I don't. And I can press continue. And that takes me on to the address page. Now, again, my permanent home address is provided there, and that is also where I receive my mail, so I don't have an alternate address. But if I got mail at a different address or I was staying somewhere else, I would want to send mail to a temporary or alternate address. And if I clicked on this box, I would get an opportunity to add another address. That's not true for me, so I'll go ahead and say no alternate address. Now I can either click continue here, or I can actually even just click into contact details and it'll take me to the same place. You'll notice on the left-hand side here that I have some indications or headers of what kinds of information I'm going to be providing as I go along. And in each one of these sections, there are subheadings. And so we're just going to make our way through it. So my preferred phone is a mobile phone, and I have already provided that to them when I completed my login or account information. I don't have another phone, so I'm going to say no here. If that is not true for you, you can go ahead and click on one of these and a box will pop up for you to enter additional information and move on to demographics. So if I had a religious preference, I could choose that here, and there are a lot of different options. This is not a required question, so I don't have to answer it if I don't want to, and I'm going to choose not to at this time. I am not a member of the U.S. Armed Forces, nor am I a dependent of somebody who is, but you should choose the answer that's correct for you. Questions about race and ethnicity are also optional, but I'm going to choose to answer these. One of the things that this can help a college do if they know information about your race and ethnicity is to direct you to services or opportunities available on campus that you might be interested in, cultural opportunities and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and choose, and I have the opportunity to choose which country of origin that is, and I can choose a race as well. And again, notice that these are entirely optional questions, and so they just want to confirm that you've answered them the way that you intended to, and move on to the next of geography. And these are questions about where you've lived around the world and how long you've lived in the United States, if in fact you still do. And so for me, my birth country is the United States of America. You'll choose the one that's correct for you, and I will fill in the city that I was born in as well, and the state. And I've lived here my entire life, so far 17 years. And I've lived 0 years outside of the United States, but you can choose what is correct for you. The most important thing in a college application is that you are answering questions as honestly as you can. Language questions are about the number of languages that you speak, and read and write. And for me, that is 2. And I'm going to choose my first language is English. And it's my first language, so I'm going to choose that. And it's also one that I speak, I read, I write, and we speak that in my home. My second language is Spanish, and I can speak it, and I can read it, and I can write it. If you have more than 2 languages or just one language that you feel proficient in, you'll answer the questions appropriately for you. And then we move on to the citizenship question. Now, you do not have to be a U.S. citizen in order to attend college in the United States or in the state of Oregon, but you do need to be honest in this question. And so you just want to select your citizenship. If you are a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, you're going to be asked to provide your Social Security number. Also a dual citizen, you'll be asked to provide your Social Security number as well. You want to make sure that you do this because this is how you are connected to your federal financial aid application. So if you're applying for federal financial aid, you are required to provide a Social Security number, and this will be the connection point between your college application and your federal financial aid application. And we move on to fee waiver information. Some colleges do require that you pay to apply. Some colleges have free application fees. Almost every college that has an application fee also offers the opportunity to have that fee waived or to not have to pay that application if your financial circumstances would make that a very difficult thing for you to do. And so this is a question asking if you think that you qualify for that fee waiver. And if the answer is yes, you'll go ahead and choose yes here, and then you can provide, check the box on the reason that that may be true for you. And so we'll go ahead and say we're enrolled in free or reduced lunch program. Then we need to sign that to say this, I am telling the truth about this. And we sign it by typing in our full name. And then we have the option to learn about this organization called Strive for College. I'm going to say no to that, but you can say yes if you're interested in learning more and click continue. And that takes us to the family section. And you'll notice that we have a green check mark here after the profile, or before the profile, meaning that we have finished that section and we are now on to the family section. Okay, I want to make a note that the Common App is big, it's long, and you can work on it, save, come back later, and continue to work on it. So you don't have to do this all in one go. And in fact, you likely won't do everything in one go. You can come and go from that. So back to the family. These are questions about parents and siblings. And so here we go. Parents' marital status. I'm going to choose what is correct for me, and you'll do the same and choose who you live with. And you have the option, of course, of you have a variety of different options, including other if none of these are true for you. I don't have a step parent that I wish to list, but if I did, information about them would pop up and I would be able to provide that information. And I have no children, and so I can move on. Again, if in any of these, if I have the option, if I choose yes, it is very likely that a box will pop up for me to provide more information about that. And I can click on those to see what happens and then clear my answer and start over. So move on to parent 1. This is my mother, and she is living, and I'm going to now provide information about her and her name. I want to make sure that I am using correct capitalization, and so I accidentally pressed the caps lock there and made sure that I changed it back to the other. She does not have a former last name, so I'm going to leave that blank. Nor does she have a suffix. She was also born in the United States. These questions, some of them, like about my parents' birth country, again, no red asterisk, it's not required, but the more information you provide, the better sometimes for a college to be able to make a good decision for you. She doesn't have email that I know, so I'm going to leave that blank, but if your parent or guardian has email, you can enter it there. She does, however, have a mobile phone, and she's happy to have phone calls from a college. And her address is the same as mine, so I will choose that. If she had a different address, again, boxes would pop up so I could fill that out. And I need to choose an occupation for her. And I'm going to scroll through until I see one that looks correct. And I don't see it. She works at a cafe, and I don't see that on here, so I'm going to choose other. And she is currently employed, and she is a hostess. She is not currently employed at a college or university and never has been, and she works at the Corvallis Diner. She finished high school but did not attend college, and so I'm going to choose graduated from higher secondary school. So some of these are questions that you may need to get some answers from your parents or guardians before you work on your application. Second parent, I don't have another parent to list, and so I'm going to skip all of those questions and move on to sibling. And they want some information about those siblings, so I'm going to give that, and I'm going to, on this one, only provide the information that is required by asterisks. And press continue. I have now completed the family section and am moving on to education. Education questions are largely about what I've done up until the point that I am ready to go to college. So let's get started on this section. This is information about my current high school, and so I'm going to search my high school. Now this is interesting because what the Common App is able to do is look at my address and show high schools that are close to where I live. And so they have done a very good job of that. And the first high school listed is actually my high school. So that may be true for you as well. If you don't happen to see that, then you can type your high school's name in, and the high schools will show up, and you can choose the one that is yours and choose continue. And so that fills in information about my high school. Wanting to know when I started there, and it was in 2017. And I started in September of 2017. It is not a boarding school, and I will graduate from this high school, and I plan to do so in 2021 in June. And I will graduate on time, and so I'm going to choose no change in progression. I'm not doing anything early or late, and I could move on to the next one. Now, this section, other secondary schools, this is asking basically, did I transfer high schools? If I've attended any other high schools, I should choose how many of those high schools. And when I do that, those same answers I just did for my most recent or my current high school would pop up, and I would need to answer those again. So if you've transferred high schools, you want to make sure that you select the number of high schools you've attended prior to the one you're in now. For me, the answer is 0, so I don't need to do anything more than that, and click continue. And I have not attended or taken any coursework at a college or university, so I'm going to go ahead and say 0. If you have taken classes, dual enrollment, or taken classes on a campus or online, you'll want to choose that. And again, as you might imagine, boxes will pop up and you'll fill it out in exactly the same way that you did for the high school, and press continue. These questions are about my grades, and the first thing they want to know is how big is my class? That information is probably on your transcript, so you should be able to find that there. And your class rank is also probably on your transcript. So you can either choose exact, and it will give you the opportunity to type in the number for your class rank. Decile means, are you in, for example, the top 10, 20, 30%. Quintile will be the top 20, 40, 60%, for example. Quartile is 25, 50. This information and how your rank is reported should be on your transcript. For me, we don't have ranking, and so I'm going to go ahead and say none. And my GPA is ranked on or scale is a 4.0, and I have a 3.2, so a 3.2 out of 4.0, and that is an unweighted grade. Again, this information you can take directly from your transcript and move on to the next question. This is a question about what classes are you taking this year, your senior year, and the first question is, how many classes are you taking this year? So for me, the number is 5, and we are on a semester, schedule, and I can enter the first class that I'm taking here. Choose the level. It's regular. It is a full year. And I can move on and do that for all of my classes. And I'm going to do that off screen, so I'll be back soon. Okay, I've got all of them entered in, and I want to just make a really quick note. When you're working on this for yourself, when you're choosing the course level, you can choose, for example, I have an AP chemistry class, and so I was able to scroll down and find advanced placement or AP, and there are a number of different options. You could choose dual enrollment, that might be something that you have, or honors. So make sure you're watching out for that. And some of the classes may be a full year, and some may be just one semester or one quarter or one trimester. And so I indicated earlier that I'm on the semester, so I get choices of either a full year, first or second semester, and I chose first semester for this class, and it accepted that, and I can move on. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. And this is a question about academic achievements, and so this might be something like Dean's List or honor roll or an award from a department, something like that. And if you click yes, you'll have the opportunity to tell what that honor is, when you earned it, and what level of recognition that might be. And you can add up to 5 honors. So if you have more than one, you can click add another honor, and it'll pop this up again. For me, I'm going to clear that answer, say no, and move on. This is a question asking if anybody helped me, any community organization helped me with my application process. And for me, the answer is no. But again, if the answer is yes, they want to know how many, and it will give you the opportunity to share which organization you got help from. And there are a number of different options listed here. So for example, if you work with College Possible, you would choose College Possible. Some others that are common here in Oregon, if you are part of Gear Up, you could choose that. So if you've gotten any free help from somebody, you can run through this list. Minds Matter, I noticed, is also on here. So there are a number of Oregon-based or organizations that work in Oregon. So you may want to go through this list if you've gotten any help. I'm going to clear that answer because for me, the answer is no. So I'm going to say 0 and move on. To future plans, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I'm not entirely sure, but I know that I would like to help people, and something like social work sounds interesting to me, so I'm going to choose that. I am not locking myself into a career here. I can always change my mind, but this feels most right for me right now. And I think that I plan to earn a bachelor's degree. Again, not locking myself into this. I can choose to change this at any time and click continue. And we've now completed our education section and are moving on to testing. Okay, so testing. This is the section where if we've taken ACT or SAT or AP or IB tests and we have scores to report, we can enter them here. We will also very likely need to send official score reports to any of the colleges that we apply to, but we do have the option to self-report scores. Now, in this current year, none of the colleges in the state of Oregon that accept the Common App, or any colleges in Oregon generally, are requiring SAT or ACT scores because of test optional plans, some of which are related to COVID, and some just are test optional all the time. So if you have taken tests and you want to share your scores, you can, but it is also possible to not share scores if you don't want to, and you won't have to at all through your application process. Let's take a quick look though to see what it looks like if you do have a score that you want to submit. So let's look at the AP scores, for example. So let's say you took an AP test last spring and you have a test score that you want to provide. You can choose that, and you'll see that we now have a new subheading of AP subject tests that we would get to when we moved on. Okay. The same thing would happen with IB, or if you did have a chance to take the SAT or ACT, you could choose that here as well. In most cases this year, probably most students are going to answer no to this question, and then you'll notice that there's no additional information here. We are not an international applicant, so we'll skip that question and click continue and move on to activities. Okay. Many colleges want to know what kinds of things have you been involved in school, out of school, significant responsibilities that you have at home. And so that's the activities section. And in most cases, you're going to want to say, yes, I have activities I wish to report. And then we have the opportunity to start entering those here. Now, this is something that they're asking for quite a bit of information from us about. And I don't necessarily have all of that memorized, and you may not either. But the good news is that I have filled out my It's a Plan College workbook. You may have done this through Google Docs. You may have downloaded the It's a Plan College app, or you might just have a resume that you've been preparing, and you have that available when you're filling out your application. In this case, I'm using the It's a Plan College workbook, and I have my activities chart tab here, and I've filled in all of the information that I know I'm going to need to share on the Common Application. And so I am going to look here, and there is activity 1, and they want to know what activity type it is. And so I look over here, and my first activity is volleyball, and I did that in 9th through 11th grade. So I am going to go back to my Common App. It is athletics. It is volleyball. And I was a member of the team. There was no organization name, it was just my high school team. And then I played for my team as I played for my JV and varsity teams. And I did that in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. I did that during the school year. And let's go back to see how many hours per week. Looks like 5 hours per week, and I did that for 10 weeks a year. Didn't always show up all the time. And I don't intend to participate in a similar activity in college, so I'm going to go ahead and say no. I have the option to enter 10 total activities, and so I have room for 9 more. And when I click add another activity, the same piece shows up. So I'm going to go ahead and enter all of my other activities off screen and be back with you in just a moment. Okay, so I've entered 4 of my activities. That's all I'm choosing to enter. I can choose up to 10, but I don't have to do 10. I just need to do the ones that are most important to me. And I want to show that for one of them, for example, I babysit my siblings, and so I chose to do that. And there's an opportunity to choose, or I chose to share that. And there's an opportunity to choose an activity type of family responsibilities. And so if you have significant family responsibilities, or you have a job or community service, all of that can go into this section. And once you've added them all the ones that you want to add, you can click continue. And it'll take us on to the writing section. Okay. Up to this point, everything we've completed has been required by every college we're applying to. When we get to the personal essay, some colleges require it and some don't. And on my list, I have 2 colleges that don't require the personal essay, 9 that do. But this note here is telling me that I will have the opportunity to send my essay to the 2 that don't require it when I click submit to actually submit that application. And so they want to know that I understand that I will have that option. But I also will have to go through the process of uploading my personal essay because I have so many colleges that do require it. Now, the Common Application essay, I have multiple prompts that I can choose from. This is really an essay that I should write before I am sitting down to complete this, and I should be either copying and pasting or uploading it here. And so this shouldn't take a whole lot of time. I should just be able to enter it in here. The essay should be one that is well edited and has had somebody else take a look at it. So this is really just the option to upload. And I need to choose which topic I have written my essay about. And for me, it is this one. You'll choose the one that is correct for you. And then I have the opportunity to enter that here. It does say I can type directly into the box. Again, copying and pasting is your best bet. If you've saved it in Google Drive, you could upload it from there. And I have done that, but I'm going to go ahead and actually go to my college essay, which I also have a tab ready to go here. And I'm going to copy it and paste it into the section and make sure that I am okay with the formatting and click continue. Okay, now there is an opportunity to ask about disciplinary history. So these are questions about, have I ever been suspended or expelled or had other serious disciplinary action at a high school that I was at? Answering yes to this question will give you the opportunity to, again, share some more information about that. And so having that written ahead of time along with sort of what you've learned from that will be important, and you'll want to do the same thing, copy and paste here. Or if that has not been true for you, you can choose no. Here's the thing to remember. College applications are about honesty. And so if the true and honest answer is yes, you'll need to choose yes and provide some information about that. You won't necessarily not be admitted because of something like that, because of a disciplinary action that has been taken against you. However, if a disciplinary action has been taken against you and you lie about it, then you almost certainly will not be admitted. So honesty is the name of the game. We can go ahead and click continue. And there are opportunities for additional information. And the first one is about COVID and how that has impacted your family. You can choose to share about this or not. But if you choose yes, then again, you're going to get a pop-up box where you can share some information. And I am going to choose to do that. So I'm going to copy and paste that information here. But I could also choose no if I don't have something. And then the next one is there anything else? Are there any circumstances or anything that I haven't had the opportunity to share yet that I want all of the colleges that I'm applying to know about? And as you can imagine, if I click yes, I'm going to see this box pop up and I can provide that information here. For me, the answer is no, and I can click continue to move on. We're back to another section where some of the colleges require something and others don't. In this case, it's courses and grades, and 2 of my colleges require that I provide information about my classes beyond just the 12th grade classes that I've already shared, but they want from all 9th through 12th grade, and then other colleges don't. All colleges are going to request that I submit official transcripts through my high school, and those that are requiring information about my grades here, it says, if I'm not able to get my transcript, that's okay. I cannot fill this out, but I do have my transcript. And if you do as well, you'll want to go ahead and say, yes, I can get that. And yes, it shows grades for courses that I've completed, if that's true for you. And then I can continue and start entering courses for all of my grades. Now, starting with 9th grade. And there's actually a whole bit here that will walk you through that first one. I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to fill this out. But if you have additional questions as you're going through this, you could click on Let's Go and it'll take you step by step through. But here I'm just going to show you what one course looks like and how I will add that information. Okay, so this is, if I had transferred schools, I would have multiple high schools showing here, but I didn't, so I just have the Corvallis High School. This was in 9th grade, so it was 2017 to 18, and I earned letter grades, and I took that on semesters. So the first class that I want to enter is my English class, and it was just called English 1, but I should spell it correctly. And again, this looks very similar to what we had in the 12th grade classes, right? So choosing what level it was, and for me it was regular. Here we're going to provide whichever grades we have. I have semester grades, and I earned a B the first semester, an A of the first semester, a B the second semester, and I don't have a final grade. And so I can just choose no grade for that. How many credits did I earn? I earned half a credit for each one. And then I would move on to my second class. I am going to take the time to enter all of my classes off camera, and I'll be back. When I get to the end of adding 9th grade courses, I can click, and so I've done that. I've added all the classes I've taken in 9th grade, and I click continue, and it gives me the opportunity to enter my 10th and 11th grade and 12th grade courses. And so here I want to first say I've reported all of my courses for this grade, click continue, and it'll take me on to 10th grade, and I'll just continue doing that through all of the classes I've taken. I want to make a quick note. I'm working on my 11th grade classes, and that was 2020 when in the spring semester my classes were graded on a pass-fail basis, and so I just wanted to make a note that that is an option. So if you need to choose a grade other than A, B, C, D, or F, there are some other options here, including pass-fail. Okay, then we get to 12th grade. So we've got everything entered. We get to 12th grade, and the question is, at this point in the year when I'm filling out my application, do I have any grades yet at all? If the answer is yes, you will enter those in the same way you've entered all of your other grades. If the answer is no, you'll say no, click continue, and then you have the option to provide any other courses. This is the section where you would, if you took courses in middle school that show up on your high school transcript, or you took some summer classes, or you did some online classes that are not from your regular transcript, you would enter those here. I don't have those, so I'll say no. But if the answer was yes, you would fill them out in exactly the same way you filled out everything else. And so I'm going to say no. And it says go to my colleges. So I'll do that. And this will bring me to the page where I can now do college-specific questions and supplements. This is also where I can figure out who I am going to ask to be my recommendation letter writers, and where I'll enter some information about my counselor and that sort of thing. They do have some video tutorials, but we'll also be providing one for each of the Oregon colleges. At this point, we're going to take a break. You've done the bulk of your Common Application. Congratulations, amazing work. When you are ready to come back and see what you need to do for each of the specific colleges, you can come find us then. But for now, fantastic job. We are getting so close to being able to click submit, and we'll see you soon.